Good afternoon, children. Today's lesson is gravitation. And see, in the brackets, I mentioned central force motion. What is the meaning of this? Under gravity, gravitation is a special lesson, of course. Under gravitation, we'll be doing the motion of bodies, motion of a body, especially in a gravitational field. For example, Earth's gravitational field we'll consider. And if I throw a body with various velocities above the surface of the earth, standing at some height above the surface of the earth, if I throw a body in the gravitational field of the earth, what kind of motion that will undergo and what laws of physics will guide its motion. That's what you mean by central force motion. I don't know whether you understood, but I'll just simply tell you a few things. Look at this. If this is, for example, earth, and I throw a body from here with zero velocity, it will go and hit the surface of the earth like this. Here, this earth's mass is very huge compared to the mass of this. So, though when you leave a body like this, even earth should also move. Since the mass of this is very, very big, we'll think it is not moving and discuss the motion of this in the gravitational field around the earth. All this space around the earth is supposed to be having gravitational field. So when I said central force motion, what I mean to say specifically in this case is, if I give various velocities to this body, it keeps moving like that. With increasing velocities, somewhere it goes in a circular orbit, and later it goes in elliptical orbit, later it goes in a parabolic orbit, later it goes in a hyperbolic orbit. Like that, as the velocity here keeps changing, the body moves in a particular way. And as this body is moving this way, it's actually following few laws. What are those laws? What are those laws? All that we'll discuss. But I gave a heading called central force motion to make it look more general, because similar to gravitational field, we have electrostatic field. The force between 2 point charges is somewhat analogous to the force between 2 point masses. And similarly, you have a spring force under which a body can move. So when I said central force, we actually mean to discuss the general properties of these fields: electrostatic field, gravitational field, spring force field. So in effect, we're actually doing 3 lessons at one go. All right. And the main headings will be like this. Around 6 headings I put here. And you can keep reminding me about these headings as we keep going through the lesson. But remember, it's a huge lesson, big lesson, very interesting lesson, and I expect you to keep talking to me. First, central force and their properties. So we generalize the whole lesson, and in the first heading itself, we would have just given you what all that is required for the whole lesson. Though in the other headings, we go for the details. The whole agenda for the lesson will be set here in the heading called central force and their properties. Later, they empirically discovered Kepler's laws of planetary motion. After that, the great person, Newton's law of gravitation, and then gravitational field strength, gravitational potential, energy and potential, then satellites in the circular orbits. So under these 6 headings, we do lesson called gravitation. Okay. And by the way, we would have learned some general properties of the other forces like electrostatic force and spring force also. Recently we did simple harmonic motion. That is a lesson for, it's a primer, or it's a precursor for the waves later I told you, but I'll also tell you how this also will be connected to that lesson. In a similar way, Electrostatics will be almost similar to this lesson. So in fact, I prefer doing this lesson side by side, but that becomes a little difficult to manage the whole thing. So I'm doing this first and then smoothly get into that lesson later. All right. So before I continue, any questions, children? So I hope you're writing these headings. Are you? In your notes. First, the big lesson, central force motion. Right? Gravitation is the lesson, but in the brackets, central force motion. It is a funny word, physicists frame. Central force motion means under the central force, how does a body move? That's what you mean by central force motion, nothing else. Okay, and later the main headings to be covered are 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Finish the writing, then we'll continue. So, Vamsi, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
How about the SHM assignment?
Yes, sir, I tried few and got, but I am doing still.
Continue to do that because they're all good questions, right?
Yes.
You must have noticed that you require some time to be spent on each and every question.
Yes.
You need to think hard, but there's a worth doing it. From now onwards, you'll be doing such assignments only. Okay, I'll send even lower level assignments, but these are the assignments I would like to focus upon. So, children, have you finished writing the 6 headings?
Yes.
Okay. Vaishnavi Peddi, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Can you read the 6 headings for me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Central
please.
force and their properties.
Yes.
Kepler's laws of planetary motion.
Uh,
Law of gravitation.
uh,
Gravitation of field strength. Gravitation, potential energy, and potential.
Yeah.
Satellites in circular orbits.
This is exactly the syllabus focus, but remember, there'll be so many subheadings under that. Okay, that will take care now. Look, what is a central force? The force acting along the line joining the two particles. Look, here we have the example, 4th one. Here we have the example. This is a point mass M1, point mass M2. Look, some time ago in mechanics, I've talked about the idea of field. When two particles attract or repel, even though there is some gap between them, even though they are not in physical touch, physical contact, to explain that action at distance force, we introduced an idea called field. Field. Okay. So in that sense, this is a source mass causing a field around it. This is a test mass. If I want to know the force on M1, I'll say this is the source of the field. That field applies force on M1. Okay. Hello. Now, if M1, M2 are the point masses, okay, even if you did not follow the field idea, forgot the field idea, I'll come back to that again. Right now, if there are two masses, M1, M2 like that, with no excess charges on them, just masses. If I want to know the force on M2 due to M1, I'll take this as my origin, O. And I'll draw this R bar vector this way, origin to the point mass M2. This is an attractive force, F will be this way. So it's along the line joining, but towards O here. Do you follow? Hello. I told you a force acting along the line joining the two particles is the central force. We made it look simple. M1, M2 are the point masses. The force on M2 due to M1 is towards the M1 along the line joining it. Look, the particle is here, but it went there, for example. Once again, the force will be like this only. Do you follow? If the particle was here, the force is like this. The particle is there, the same force means like the force, whatever force is there will act like this only. There's nothing like component of this acting that way. Do you follow? So this kind of a force will be represented by, look, F on 2 by 1. F bar 2 by 1. F on 2 by 1 is some constant minus K by R square. This particular force is a inverse square law force also. ISL stands for inverse square law. I want you to keep responding to me. Here, central force means a force acting along the line joining. It need not be necessarily inverse square law force. Do you follow? So, but particular force here which I showed is what? Inverse square law force. Minus K by R square R cap I wrote. Why do you know? If I said R bar is a vector from O2 away from it, R cap is a unit vector in the direction of R bar. So if I put a minus sign, it means that the force is towards the origin, an attractive force. Do you follow?
So it's independent of the position.
Independent of the
position of M2.
It is independent of position. Oh, dependent on position. Here K, that M1, M2 you can write if you want. Okay. That constant is G anyway. Why did you say independent of position? It is depending on position, no?
Sir, because when we said we put M2 up also.
So you mean to say wherever it goes, this one?
Yes, sir.
Work done will be independent of the position, not the force, right? Force is depending on position R, right? Work done to move point from one point to another point is independent of position, depends only on, independent of path and depends only on position. R bar is a position vector, Sriya.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So depending on position, right? Huh?
Yes.
Work done will be independent of path and depends on position. Once again, there also. Okay. Now, if it is plus Q1 plus Q2 like that, the force is F on 2 by 1 is plus K by R square Q1 Q2 R cap. This plus R cap, that minus R cap, I want you to understand. See, we said central force acting along the line joining two particles. So that should be put in mathematical form. That's what I'm doing now. And this plus Q1 minus Q2, F1 2 by 1 equals minus K Q1 Q2 by R square into R cap. So if you write in vector form, the minus sign will show it is an attractive force. Plus sign will show it is a repulsive force. And this R square thing says that it is inverse square law force. So a central force can be attractive, repulsive, and it can be an inverse square law force, or it may depend on some other way on R. It may be 1 by R force, it may be 1 by R cube, whatever. Tell me, children. And here we have taken an example of D here. Once again, this spring force is towards the origin like this. In the case, I put it R like this, minus KR R cap. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. 4 examples of, and these are the only things we do. You're not bothered about something, I mean, some other force, but in solving a problem, of course, you might be given another force whose name we did not have to know, but the mathematical formulation will be there, and you should be in a position to manage with that. All right. But many a time we do something. If I have Earth here, for example, and if I have a point mass there, I'll still write this force as what? Minus Gmm by R square R cap, force on the particle. This is not a point mass, right? But still, we do write such kind of a thing. The reason is this: because the spherical symmetry of this, even this is equivalent to point mass here. So even for real masses, we could do something like that. Here I showed that. But in case of spherical symmetry, M1, which is a sphere, M2, which is a sphere, are reduced to point mass, and still we write the force as G M1 M2 by R square. Here M1 M2 are not the masses of the point masses, it is the mass of the spheres, but still that will be okay. And these forces may be attractive or repulsive. So before I went for another page, I wanted some feedback because some mathematics is put here. I want people to respond quickly. Vaishnavi M.
Yes, sir.
And boys, Aryan.
Yes, sir.
So this mass business, did you follow? Minus K by R square R cap. You know, this R bar can be always written as mod R into R cap, isn't it so? Where R cap is unit vector along R bar away from the origin. So R cap doesn't make any problem here, right? Huh? In fact, you can also write as minus K M1 M2 by mod R cubed into R bar also you can write. Why? Mod R is
R cap by
R
R
cap.
bar by
So
mod.
cancels and R square. So the minus sign shows the force is towards the origin. Plus sign shows the force is away from the origin. That's what, whether you understood or not. Attractive, repulsive, which we say, is put in a proper mathematical shape. Hello, children.
Sir, so attractive is towards the origin, repulsive away from
Yeah, that is when you find the force on Q2,
M2.
Q2 by Q1 or M2 by M1. If you do the reverse, find the force on M1 due to M2, put the origin here. So once again, that will be towards the center of that origin. Huh?
Sir, but is it necessary to shift the origin then?
Naturally, when you want to find the force on one, the force causing particle will be something else, right? Huh?
Yes.
And in fact, you need not have to put the origin here. You can put the origin somewhere also. It doesn't matter. But that R1, still the force will be towards it. But you'll write in terms of this position vectors R1, R2 with respect to some other origin, which I'm not doing right now. You can take the origin somewhere else also, Sriya.
Yes.
All right. No, children, now onwards, you need to be really trying to think in mathematical terms without leaving physics, of course. But I don't think that should be trouble because that small logic you already know. Can I continue to the next page, children?
Sir, 1 minute.
Yeah. So central force are once for all taken care. Electrostatic force, which is attractive or repulsive, and gravitational force which is always attractive.
Attractive.
Right? And when we are dealing with this in the beginning, we are dealing with point masses there, point charges here.
Done, sir.
Okay. Now, can I continue? Right. So very important idea. What are the consequences of force being central or on the motion? Look, what are the consequences of a force being central on the motion of an object in that field? Look, 1. Since tau is 0 on M, why is it 0? R mod F sine 180. Angle between R bar and F bar is 180. So torque is 0. I don't know whether I've shown it separately. I'll show it otherwise. Okay, I'll show it here. Look, we think of Earth here, or I'll make it a little smaller. Earth here we have, or Sun we have, for example. And Earth is supposedly moving in an elliptical orbit, right?
Yes.
Now look at this. This is Sun. This is planet Earth. Wherever it goes, the force is towards the center of the Sun. Do you understand? Like this. And this is r bar away from it. So r cross f is what? 0. Hello. Do you all really understand and agree for it? Since the force is along r, torque of that force is 0. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. It's not perpendicular, so we cannot.
It has no perpendicular component. All the time the force is along the force only. Sorry, along the r only.
Radius.
It may be
Yes.
along r with 0 degrees or opposite to r with 180 degrees. Attractive 180 degrees. Repulsive 0 degrees. I want people to talk, people to give a little understanding. Actually, since I'm recording it, I will put it up on the YouTube. You can watch it. But of course, I wanted to write, but at the same time, I want you to talk to me and understand it. Once for all, it should be over. Okay. So torque is 0. Since torque is 0, this statement is considered. Angular momentum is conserved. That is what principle of conservation of angular momentum is about, right? If torque external equals 0, L bar is constant. That means if you throw this phone like that because you got angry and you want to throw it, it will obediently follow conservation of angular momentum, believe me, along with other laws. Have you understood?
Sir, so
Angular momentum of the Earth here, 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 all same. Yes, tell me, Sriya.
attractive is negative because the angle is 180.
Yeah, naturally. Why? I showed you here, no? R is away from the origin, F is towards the origin. So what is the angle between these two vectors?
180.
180. Okay? Aryan.
Yes, I followed it.
No, I want you to ask me, talk to me. Let us make it an interactive session, not just I'll go on talking for myself. Appreciating myself. Using dramatics, modulating the voice, and I can feel like a performer, but it only makes you feel good, but the gray cells won't be activated. So every small point, if you follow here, that life will be easy, right? Can I continue then? What do you mean by conservation of angular momentum? Angular momentum all over here will be same. Hello?
Yes.
I'll put it in more clearer terms. Look, let me say this is Sun and this is the path of the any planet or Earth, doesn't matter. Now, there are two distances where the velocities are perpendicular to R. Do you agree? Only when the velocity becomes like this, it turns. If the velocity was like that, it would still go a little further, right? Hello.
Yes.
So now if the mass of the planet is m, if the closest distance is r2, farthest distance is r1, angular momentum here will be what? See, r1 mv1 sine 90, r cross mv. Angular momentum is what? Isn't it? So rmv
Yes.
sine 90 here should be equal to r2 mv2 there is equal to somewhere here. I can have a velocity v. This is r. Okay. Angle between r and this may be theta, for example, is equal to r mv
3.
sine theta. R1 mv1 equals R2 mv2 equals R mv sine theta. Everywhere I took this farthest and closest distances where the angle is 90 and some other point I took. So it takes care of all the points the way I put it. Do you follow Vaishnavi, Peddi?
Yes, sir.
So that's what you mean by saying that angular momentum of a particle moving in a gravitational force is constant. Why is it constant? Because torque is zero. Why torque is zero? The force is along r. What do you mean by that being constant? The values of r1, v1, r, v, theta keep changing, but the product remains same.
Same.
So that is what you need to understand. Can I continue? I want you to keep writing and keep listening and keep talking. Children, I'm waiting for your permission to change the slide.
Done, sir.
Right. Now, L being constant, motion of M will be in a plane. This is very, very important. You know, our solar system is how? Anytime when you show the planets around the sun, how will you show them?
Like 3 dimensions.
3D, okay, but do we show Earth going this way and then Jupiter going that way?
They'll be like swirling around.
It's like a disk, solar disk. It is this way, that way, like that. It's not one here, one there, like that. Tell me. Now, this particular point is very, very important. L being constant, motion of M will be in a plane. The explanation is provided here. You look at it. L should be perpendicular to the plane of R and MV, right? And since L is constant, motion should be in a plane. Tell me whether you understood it. Everything is shown there. Hello. R cross MV. R cross MV will be like this. This is L direction, which is shown towards you. So if L is all the time like this, that will happen only if the motion is taken in this plane. It won't be like a helical or some going in and coming out. It won't be in two planes. It's only in a single plane like this. Hello, where L is
It's all
perpendicularly up like that, for example. So this is, you remember, we have told already, what are the consequences of a force being central? 1, 2 we discussed. Third is what? The motion will be in a plane. And how L is constant and how much is that also we can show here. L equals mr square omega, isn't it so? Rmv will be Rmv is R omega, mr square omega. It's like I omega.
Yes.
Right. Now, dA, this part I am taking. Equals, very small angle this is. dA equals half into R d theta into R, which is half R square d theta. dA by dt you do half R square d theta by dt. D theta by dt is what? Omega. So what do you get? Half R square omega. Multiply with m on both the sides. I'll get L here. So dA by dt is L by 2m. Since L is constant, dA by dt is constant. So the consequence of L being constant is this. What is this? This motion will be in a plane, but also another consequence is there, that aerial velocity is constant. Aerial velocity means what? The rate at which area changes is constant. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little more, of course, we have. Are you wondering as to why these things are important for us? Remember, when you look at a particular problem in gravitation, for example, you have to see whether you can apply these ideas to that problem there, so that you get individual equations, independent equations, and solve them to get the answer. Need to make angular momentum constant. You make k plus u constant, that comes later. And of course, 2 more laws are there. And you can also see whether the aerial velocity is constant. You can also see whether the motion is in a plane. So these are all the ideas which should come to your mind when you are dealing with a good question or good problem. Children, can I continue? Hope you're all writing. Vamshi.
Yes. Yes.
And who else? Boys, Shriyans, Rishiraj, Ravi Teja, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Ravi Teja.
Yes, sir.
So, are you writing the notes?
Yes,
You should write. You should be really focused completely in this physics class, because we're asking you to do too many things at the same time. Keep watching the screen, keep writing, keep talking to me, and keep thinking, right? So, okay. Then, have you really followed this? L being constant, motion is in a plane. L being constant, one more, some additional result we have seen. dA by dt is constant. Okay. Remember what we talked for sun and earth. I can also talk for a nucleus which is very heavy, an electron which is projected with a certain velocity and maybe going in elliptical path, for example. So these rules, angular momentum conservation, torque being 0, and aerial velocity remaining constant will be equally applied for that. Okay. All right.
Sir, meaning the area covered in equal time intervals is
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, that's what Kepler law says, right? But when Kepler
Yes.
gave, he did not know all this. He just gave it from watching, looking at it, taking different readings of the planets at various points of time and doing some kind of a correction for the experimental errors. He could see that the aerial velocity is constant, that is in equal intervals of time. The area swept by the radius vector connecting the planet and the sun was constant. Okay.
Yes.
So shall I continue, children?
Yes, sir.
Right. In a central force field, mechanical energy is conserved. That is, U plus K is conserved. Angular momentum will be same at every point. U plus K will be same at every point. If it is gravitational force, F is inversely proportional to R square, torque is 0, motion is in a plane. All that once again I summarize, this extra thing we added. Huh? These forces
So
are,
it's a conservative field.
they are conservative fields, yes. Okay. There is a discussion on this, but for us, we can say take the conservative, this central force are conservative. Okay. So that is what we require. We are ready with the tools for solving problems under this. When I said this particle is released, it will go like this with initial velocity 0. A little more velocity, it will go like that. A little more velocity, it goes in a circular path. A little more elliptical path, a little more parabolic path, a little more hyperbolic path, like that. But all these laws will be followed. Along with this, F is inversely proportional to R square. This is one more thing given by Newton. F is gmm by R square. So there may be a God who created these laws, and the universe will behave and follow those laws. Even God cannot interfere because he created or she created or it created these laws. So he won't interfere and change the laws. So Sriya, can you tell me the consequence of a force being central quickly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, in your own
Yes,
words?
sir.
Make it fast.
So the first one implies that the net torque or the external torque will be 0 on the mass. Second, will say that because the torque is 0, the angular momentum is constant.
Conserve, yeah.
And then conserved, yes, sir.
Mm.
And then third says that since the angular momentum is constant, it will always same plane, same direction, same plane.
L should be all the time fixed like that because constant. So that will happen only if see the angular that L which is fixed in direction and magnitude there, it is perpendicular to the plane. So motion will be in this plane, right? A plane perpendicular to L. All right.
The fourth point we said was that equal areas are covered in equal intervals of time.
Yeah.
5 being that the mechanical energy is conserved, nothing other than saying that
Potential plus kinetic for such fields which are R dependent like this, we define U potential energy, and potential plus kinetic will be constant. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. More of this will keep coming as you keep doing questions. In fact, deliberately a problem is given. Look, this is Earth. Kartav, are you there? Kartav,
Sir,
are you there?
no, sir.
Sleeping?
No, sir.
Right. Now look at this. We throw a body with root of gm by r, for example. The question may be, what's the maximum height reached? Here a equals g is not constant because root gm by r is nearly 8 km per second. That means the body will go to very great height. If body is going to very great height, you cannot say g is constant, right? First of all, that. But potential energy plus kinetic energy remains constant. So u1 plus k1 equals u2 plus k2. u1 is minus gm by r. Did we do that in work per energy or not?
Yes, sir.
So at this point, potential energy is minus gm mass of the earth into mass of the body by distance here plus half mv square. This is v square because we throw with this velocity equals at wherever whatever height it goes, it is minus gm by r plus h. This is r, this is h plus kinetic energy is 0. So probably I think people told h equals r here. It appears to us that we applied only energy conservation, but remember we also applied without our knowledge angular momentum conservation also. How? What is the angular momentum now, children? R and mv are in the same direction. Angular momentum is 0 there. Even there, angular momentum is 0. So without our knowledge, in fact, we also conserved angular momentum. Do you follow the question? Hello, Aryan.
Yes.
Initially, angular momentum is 0 here. Do you know why? R and mv are in the same direction, right? And here anyway,
Yes.
velocity is also 0. So anyway, angular momentum is 0. So angular momentum is 0 here, angular momentum is 0 there. And k plus u is equal to k plus u there. So two powerful tools for writing the equations in the lesson. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I want people to finish the question first. Is h equals r here? I just wrote. Check it out. Karta, have you finished the SHM assignment, third one?
I'm still doing it, sir. Okay.
Tomorrow I'll send the key.
Okay.
Sir, h is equal to.
Huh?
It's equal, sir.
Yeah, that's right. So here, what is the maximum vertical height reached means you can't write v square minus u square equals to a, children. A is not constant, right? Hello.
Yes.
When we threw bodies in kinematics, we thought g is constant and we wrote 0 square minus u square equals 2 into minus g into h max, h equals u square by 2g we wrote. We cannot apply it now because g is not constant for a high velocity like that. How much is this? I told you 8 km per second. Very big velocity, isn't it? Or small velocity? No, 8 km per hour is, it's not, it's 8 km per second. Just to make it 11.2, the body will escape. So it's such a high velocity that is. So children, tell me quick. Balavardhan.
Yes, sir.
So I'm moving ahead, children. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Others.
Yes.
Now, an immediate question like this. Instead of throwing it vertically up, we throw it like this, root of 5 gm by 4r. So what is the maximum height above Earth reached by the particle? You cannot simply say U1 plus K1 equals U2 plus K2 and then make the kinetic energy 0 at the top. Why? There is an angular momentum here, isn't it? RMV sine theta. So if it goes and comes to rest, the angular momentum will be 0. It won't go like that. It will go like that and come back like this. Do you follow what I speak here? If you make the velocity 0 at the topmost point, angular momentum is not conserved. So by mistake, if you say, many times you say, like at the topmost point velocity 0 is not going to work. At the topmost point there is a velocity, but that velocity will be perpendicular to r. Why? If the velocity was somewhat like that, it would still continue to go. Do you follow? Hello, Kartav. The velocity should be like this. Do you all agree? Children, without you working for it, I'm just going on giving because I have to do.
Sir, it's similar to projectile motion.
Similar to projectile motion. What do you mean by that? Anything projectile is a projectile. Even a body projected vertically, is it not a projectile?
Yes, sir, it is.
Then that's a
meant
habit.
like
That's a habit for us to say projectile motion in 2 dimensions. Now we are making it even much broader, Sriya. Huh?
Yes,
You call it a projectile. What is the point? Look, my point is, what is the maximum height above the reached by the particle? In this case, if somebody starts saying velocity is 0 at the topmost point, they are wrong. And that's one thing. Second thing is that velocity should be perpendicular to r is the next point. That's, I asked you whether you followed that. For that, you need not have to say at the topmost point it should be like this because of the projectile thing. I told you a better reasoning. What is that? At some other point there, the velocity is this way, right? Tangential. That means there's a component pulling it away. But at the maximum height, what will happen? It cannot go any further there, away, right? So the velocity should be like this, the body will return. That's most reasonable way of talking about it. Okay?
Yes, sir, now I got it.
Yes, that's what I want. Don't deviate and go in a tangent. Now, at this moment, mv naught r by 2 I wrote. Why? mv naught r sine 30. Here should be equal to mvr. Do you follow? Here v1 I said mv1 r sine 90. Hello. Angular momentum conservation. Then energy conservation. Half mv naught square minus gmm by r here should be equal to half mv1 square minus gmm by r plus h. This is r plus h. So solving these two equations should give you h equals to r by 3. Check it. I'll wait. But understand the question carefully. Children. Hello, children. Aryan.
Yes, sir.
Really? Did you really follow? We throw with some velocity like that, the body will come back. How can you say it comes back? You can say it comes back because angular momentum has to be conserved. It cannot, of course, coming back is not because of angular momentum conservation. I mean, coming back is because of the velocity is less than the escape velocity. That's first thing. But this particular weight happens because the velocity cannot become zero at the topmost point. That's what is very important. I don't know. Vaishnavi M.
Yes, sir.
I was telling you, even in the first problem, we conserved angular momentum, but that was okay because 0 here, 0 there. It appeared that we did not even use it. But if you don't use it here, you're going to be wrong. Huh?
Yes.
Actually, when you look at, yes, I understood. That feeling should come. Otherwise, because I'm forcing you to ask, you will ask something which is not related to this. You should really feel, yeah, it should have been like this only, oh. So the idea that all the time the topmost point, the velocity becomes 0 is not correct. And we are missing out many times the conservation of angular momentum. All that should be striking there. Vaishnavi Peddi, Aryan, Vamshi, Aditya, Ashok, whoever is there. And the new entrants. Rohit, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Are you really following?
Sir, I actually wanted to ask you to explain this again, sir. I didn't understand.
Explaining again means I'll talk different words. Tell me, where is that you did not follow? The solution is there right in front of you. Now go by details, one after the other. I'll talk. Rohit. I'm glad that at least one fellow told that he did not follow. But now let us go.
Sir, why is that MV not R by 2, sir? I didn't understand it.
Angular momentum definition is what? R cross MV? Rohit?
Yes, sir.
RMV sine theta?
Yes, sir.
Huh? What do you say? So initially, if this is 30, is this MVR sine 30?
Yes, sir.
R perpendicular, MV perpendicular into R. The angle between R and this MV is 30, no? So this perpendicular component is MV not R sine 30, right? And sin 30 is what? Half.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
From this point to this point, we conserved angular momentum. This MV0 R sine 30 is here, children. And MV1R is here. Rohit.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Right. And anybody else? These other boys or girls, 3 or 4. Bhavita, Kavita, whoever is going over the heads? Not really. That's one of the most important laws of physics we talked about. I'm telling you, just leave any body, it comes down, we know. Throw it in various ways, various angles, various speeds, all that. It follows some various paths. But at every point in the path, GMM by R square is followed. Angular momentum L is constant is followed. From point to point, U plus K is followed. Okay. So the bodies, they follow those laws and move. They cannot move breaking those laws. Okay. What I mean to say is somebody suddenly says some miracle happened in the skies. So I'll say whether it's a miracle or not. I'll say whether it happened or not by applying these laws. Do you follow? If somebody says, I threw a body, it went away like that, and I threw it only with a small velocity, if he says, I won't believe it. Do you follow? Unless I throw it with some high velocity 11.2, for example, I don't believe that the body will go forever escaping you. Like if you say that I'll just use a, what is that, some the farmer's sling and throw a stone so that it becomes a satellite, I cannot believe it because it requires high velocity. Do you follow? I don't know whether people understood this only. I'm a little worried now. Is h coming r by 2r by 3? Hi, my children, dear children, tell me. Aryan?
Yes, I'm doing.
But did you follow how I wrote my equations? U1 plus K1 equals U2 plus K2. Raviteja. Huh? MVR equals MVR sine 90. That's what we told. Angular momentum is conserved. Energy is conserved. These two laws I applied. But in the middle, there was a lot of discussion in setting up the question. Huh? So I want you to complete the calculations. H is 2r by 3, it seems. M is mass of the body, capital M is mass of the earth. Okay. And in here I've got capital M. So don't misunderstand it.
Sir, in the first equation, right hand side, R is R plus H.
Yeah, this R is R plus H, naturally. Isn't it? This total R is from the center, height is H above, this is capital R. So R is R plus H is written there. And be ready. Many times this kind of equations keep coming in this lesson. And you cannot complain that you're getting a quadratic equation or something. You have to solve. You may get some other value for the H here when small r there when you calculate. So that also you can tell. Hello. So can I close the session? We got a class at 6:30. I need to do a little walk in the middle. All right. I hope people have taken at least the main steps and answer. And tomorrow we shall ask about it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, children. Monica, Shilpa, are you there? Coming every day?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Varshita, if you don't speak, I'll forget your names also. Children,